Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Birdies, Beers, and Breakaways. Good Lord, is it the best week in golf, and we are excited to be here. It is all three of us once again back together myself, Jacob, and Chase. How the hell are we doing tonight, guys?
Doing good, doing good. Can't wait to get some fucking golf watched. Hopefully play a little bit. Got to play last weekend. But what about you, Chase? How you feeling?
Feeling great. It rained like 32 inches here in Tennessee over the weekend. So, not 32, but it rained 12 inches. And Clarksville's underwater. We went and ate at the golf course that you guys have been to, that you played around there, and every single hole was completely underwater because it's right on, I think it's the Cumberland River. Every single hole on that golf course was underwater. So feel bad for that golf course because it's going to take a little bit to get them up and running. But been soaking in some Masters coverage already, and looking forward to, like you said, the best week of golf.
Yeah, it looked like you were sitting at a restaurant, sitting lakefront on the patio from that picture you
Yeah,
sent
it
us.
looked lakefront. You
Lakefront
you like
property
viewed
value
out.
just jump up. You now own a lakefront property.
Well, what's better, lakefront or golf course? But
I'd
this
take the
one,
golf course.
I take if I'd rather if I was near a golf course, I wouldn't rather have my home back onto a golf course unless it was like a tee box or a green. But
yeah.
True.
don't want
But
to deal with that.
did you get out on the course, Corey?
I did not know. This last weekend, we felt the repercussions, I think, of the southern end of all the crappy weather you guys had, especially a lot of tornadoes through the middle states of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then all the bad rain up into Tennessee you guys got because it was windy as shit. It rained Thursday through Saturday afternoon, and Sunday came around and it was 48 degrees with 30-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, I was pulling weeds on Sunday Sunday morning, and it dropped from this was Saturday afternoon. Excuse me. It dropped from like what felt warm and humid. We were grocery shopping that morning while I was pulling weeds to like 50 degrees. I'm like, oh. So I checked my phone, and we were on tornado watch for most of the weekend. Just because one of the big telltale signs is instant temperature drop, so I checked my phone immediately. But thank God none of those. But we did have one last year, so praying none again this year. So yeah, no golf for me this last weekend. What about you guys?
Yeah, I was able to get out to the course on Sunday. It's still cold up here. It's supposed to warm up starting next week. But I was able to go out and play Sunday, and like the high was 54, but we started at 9:30. So obviously it wasn't 54 yet. But we got a couple buddies here that like to play two-man scrambles, two v two, and
Yeah,
we've played them a
you
couple
called me
times.
about this. It got pretty intense, eh?
Yeah, we played them a couple times last year. We never beat them, and that group together, as they say, they've never been beat. Matt and I, my buddy, were down two at the turn. We were one over, they were one under, and we came out and birdied 10 and 11, tied it up, and then we all parred until 16, which is a par five along the cornfield there, and we both birdied that. Then we both birdied 18, and we're tied through 18. So we ended up we're like, oh, let's just keep playing and have a little playoff. So we played off one, two, three, and four, and four we parred it. They got their first bogey of the day, and we were the first people to be able to take them down. It was pretty cool. It was fun. It's nice to have a little competition early in the season and make some putts and have some big drives. My adrenaline was pumping on four. I hit my furthest drive maybe ever, and we're in the back tees, which don't push it back that far on that hole, but we only had like 60 yards in when normally I'm like 110 in. So it's nice to get a little poke down there.
Yeah,
But
Yeah, we normally
nice.
play a game on the weekends when we have our whole crew down here. My dad, my brother, and one of the other guys who tags along week with us. My dad used to work with, and we'll do combined score match play of my brother and I versus my dad and Rick's name. And the first few times we played it, we cooked them pretty good because they actually start to have. We made them sweat over 3 and 4 foot putts instead of them just kind of knocking it or whatever. And everyone's playing their own balls. So but whatever was match play and making them sweat over some smaller putts kind of got to them the first little bit. But no, I love playing
yeah,
some games and definitely miss playing with both you guys and adding a little competition to everything.
likewise. But no, I agree. So I'm a big believer in if you have a birdie putt, no matter
Oh,
you could
agree.
be 4 inches, every birdie's got to find the bottom of the cup.
Agree.
And it was on 18. They hit a drive perfect. They were like had like a 10-yard chip, and that's all they had. And so they chip it up, and they had like I don't know, it was like inches, 5 to 6 inch putt. And they're like, "You're really gonna make us finish that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, if you're worried about it, you shouldn't be." But yeah, I mean, it's a gimme, but it's a birdie, so it's got to find the bottom of the cup. And it was kind of cool to see they were getting a little heated too, and so it was fun.
Oh, good deal. But I think we don't have that exciting of variation of drinks tonight. In spirit of Masters Week, we all kind of teamed up here, and we're on the Azalea train. So
Azaleas.
cheers, fellas.
Mine looks really fucking light. You're right. All right.
Hey, why is
Cheers.
yours like orange?
Maybe it's the cup. I don't know.
Oh,
It
know,
looks
it's-
orange at the top, but maybe it's the lighting.
maybe.
It's lemonade juice, not orange juice, right?
Oh yeah, I got the lemonade behind me,
Okay.
just
Good
in
deal.
case.
Good deal. Well, I already we got no coverage on Monday, but my productivity at the office today, once the Masters coverage started rolling around, lingered. But before we get into golf talk, there was absolutely insanity in the hockey world this last weekend. Alexander Ovechkin is now the greatest goal scorer of all time. Surpasses Wayne Gretzky's record of 894. He tied his record in one less game and surpassed his goal record with 895 in the exact same game that Gretzky got 894. Pretty crazy. A lot of crazy stuff happened. I think it was like 18 years that same date, April, is when Washington won the lottery draft and was able to draft Alexander Ovechkin. A 20 or plus 30 years before that, whenever Gordie Howe's last game was, he scored his 801st goal against the New York Islanders to be the greatest goal scorer of all time before Wayne eventually passed him. So a lot of crazy things happened, but it was just all around cool to see. Did both you guys watch the game? I know it was like a matinee afternoon Sunday game, but I made sure to turn it on to see it go down.
I did not watch the game. I rewatched it, and then the celebration was pretty cool. Was that like? That's not what Gretzky did or anything, was it? I don't know.
I don't know. So, go ahead. Do you want to talk about Chase?
No, I was just gonna. I caught a little bit of it. I was gonna ask the same question on like when Gretzky broke his record. Did they like stop the game for all that time and do the celebration and then kind of go back? Or
So that I don't know. But when Gretzky passed Howe, that's a lot of the things kind of linger into what Ovi and Wayne kind of the interaction happened. I mean, Gretz was wearing a Howe pin. Howe's wife gave Gretzky's wife a gift congratulating him on passing Howe's record. There was a bunch of symbolisms of trading back between them. So Wayne made sure to reciprocate what Howe did to Gretz of what Gretz did to Ovi. I guess back then the league or someone ended up gifting Gretz a custom Rolls Royce for passing Howe's scoring record. And Gretz,
Nice.
there was a funny kind of clip of Gretz talking about it with Bettman and Ovi. He's like, am I going to get a car? And technically they weren't allowed to talk about it because getting gifts other than what's in your contract is against the CPA, and you're not allowed to do that. So that's probably going to be talked about off camera. But a lot of the things, the celebration was cool. I listened to a clip from Dylan Strome talking about it. They were celebrating like they won the cup when he tied. And then when they won, it sucked after the game because they lost. And no, it was they said it was crazy, and they have like a 4-day gap between their next game on Thursday. So there's clips lingering around, and I'm sure they'll be having their fair bit of fun before gearing up and making a playoff push.
yeah, I think I'll be honest. It was really cool to see the game before. He thought he might break it that game because he had 2 on the board, was going for a third. He had like 4 shots with like 2 minutes left in that game. He was just like peppering the goalie, trying to get that. And luckily, I think he did something that, I'm glad he did and didn't take just the empty netter to break the
100%.
record. He wanted to score it on a goalie and do a legitimate goal. So I respected that a lot. But, there's like unnecessary hate with this Ovi record, like people talking shit about like that's all they're focused on. I'm like, no, because they're almost President's Cup trophy winning team right now. They have 104 points. The only team that are ahead of them in wins is the Winnipeg Jets. So it's not like he's just on a shitty team racking up goals to break the record. Like, they're still winning games. They're still a really good team. So I hate seeing all the shit talk on Twitter about Ovi breaking the record and it not being like as legitimate as it should be.
I mean,
You're always going to have those haters, though.
oh, with everything, I mean,
everything. Yeah.
the craziest thing is he missed a dozen games with a broken leg in the middle of the season, and no one thought, even at the start of last year, if this was possible. Ovi never thought it was possible, and then he just got hot. I mean, he's having a 42 goal season at 39. This is his 14th 40 goal season with his 20 years in the NHL. So it's just insane at the rate he's scored at. And how he's continued to score. It's the same spot. Power play, he's the all-time leading power play goal scorer. He just stands there like his controller is broken, and it's inevitable it's going in. After all these years, no one's been able to stop him. It's just insane. But a couple other, it just goes to show craziness of what that record really is, especially in hockey. And one other cool thing, the only other player who they kind of realistically see, they think Crosby could maybe make a run at it. If he keeps his pace, I think they said by 2032 he would, depending on how long Ovi plays, and we don't have to go too in depth that because I know we really want to get into Masters. By 2032, Sid should be at 900 goals. If he continues his pace, granted I don't think he'll play that long. There's talks if Ovi's going to keep playing after the year. But the craziest thing for me is that if Gretz never scored a single goal in his career, he would still be the leading point scorer of all time in the NHL, which is insane.
That's crazy.
Unreal.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of the beef and stuff on Twitter of the Ovi Sid and is Ovi now on the Mount Rushmore of hockey players of all time. People kicking certain people off the Mount Rushmore. The one thing that stands out, I think, Ovi and Gretz had like 0.66 goals per game average through their career. Mario Lemieux had 0.77 goals per game through his career, and he was the fifth all-time scorer, and he played like 600 games less than all of them, 400 games, somewhere in that range. I don't know to be exact. So there's a lot of conversation with that, a lot of the old heads debating. One of the guys on the TNT analyst desk said to Gretz, he's like, do you think it was harder what Ovi did now versus when you did it? And Gretz made a really good point. He's like, yes, it is harder. The goalies are more skilled. There's a lot more skilled players, but back in the day, there was a lot of clutching and grabbing, and they got away with a lot of stuff back in the day. The hacks, the whacks, the sticks, the punching, the elbows. There was a 2-line pass rule. Basically, for those who don't know, you couldn't pass over the blue and red line at the same time. It was not allowed. When you got a power play, you couldn't start in the offensive zone. The sticks were 5 times the weight. The equipment wasn't as good. So there's a lot of things, and then even comparing Howe to Gretzky that people will debate forever. But I thought the funniest thing out of all of this that came up was, how did Ovi breaking Gretzky's record affect LeBron's legacy is what came up. Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp were discussing with PK Subban about LeBron's legacy versus Ovi's record, and I'm like, this is enough. I'm sick and tired of this shit.
It's got to be a bit at this point, because listening to Shannon Sharp talk about LeBron James was the most infuriating thing, and I think PK Subban was just sitting there like, shut the fuck up about LeBron James right now. It's just, it was Sports Center sucks. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it, because I listened to that clip and I was like wanting to bang my head off the desk listening to Shannon Sharp pretty much deep throat LeBron James over his fucking scoring record.
Did you guys see what Budweiser did though?
Yeah, so every goalie that never got scored on by Ovi, they sent them a 0% Budweiser NA beer. I think there was only like a dozen
18,
or so goalies on that list.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
It was like 8 or 18. I don't know, for some reason 8 sticking in my head, but yeah, that's...
two Blues players was on the list, Curtis Joseph, and then actually this year Joel Hofer.
Cujo never got scored on. Out of all the teams he played on, he never got scored on by Ovi.
Yeah, he's on that list.
Wow.
And then Joel Hofer's on there. He hasn't. I think he's only saved like 8 shots, but he was on the list of some of the few. And then Sorokin was actually the most prolific. He was the best goalie ever against Ovi until he let that the goal record one up. So
But last little bit of hockey talk. Your Blues finally lost their win streak. They got beat by the Jets. 12 games hot, goes cold. They're still in the hunt to secure the wild card. Seems like Calgary's the only team that can kind of push them out. And I think the East should pretty well be cemented. My Wings blew a lead again against big game. They lost to Montreal. I'm sure the game's over by now. So I'm assuming it'll be Montreal and Ottawa securing those last two spots. Granted, if Florida moves up or down somewhere in there, but I don't think I see anyone behind Montreal or Ottawa catching up to that Eastern wildcard spot. So
there's a little bit of a gap there. I was checking the standings last night, and there's like a 4 or 5 point gap now.
It was 5 points before the game tonight. So they were saying even if Detroit lost in OT, it would still be pretty impossible for them to get in. They needed to win in regulation, and they still would have had a single-digit % to get in because they would have had to basically win out. And the team they've been running their top guys heavy. Larkin and them have kind of gone cold a little bit off of those win streaks, but I'm optimistic for next year. We have a lot of young guys coming in, so it sucks. 10, 11 years now not making the playoffs, but you got to think half of that we're going to suck because we made the playoffs 27 years in a row, so you can only do so much.
You sound like a Cubs fan being optimistic for next year.
There's always next year.
There is.
Yeah, no, the Blues had an incredible 12 game win streak. I was really worried about the Winnipeg game, to be honest, because we had a pretty long homestand and then went into Winnipeg. Obviously, they're, right now the President's Cup team of this year, and we just came out flat. We only had 3 shots on goal in the first period, so it was rough. But we still have a 2-point lead over, so we're actually in the wild card 1 spot right now. The Wild dropped down to wild card 2, and then Calgary's the only worry that I have because they're lurking back there with 6 games left, and the Blues only have 4 games left. Mm-hmm. So they got a couple games in hand. But the Wild play the Flames, and the Flames have like Vegas again. They have the Oilers and the Kings again, I think. So their schedule's a little bit more tough. Ours is like, I think we have the Oilers on Thursday. So it's we only have 3 games. Oilers, Utah, and Seattle to finish the year. So we'll see. I think with our 12 game win streak, we should have built a healthy gap, but you never know.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on about hockey before we get into the exciting stuff? Well, we want to talk before we get into the greatest week in golf, some interesting things I think happened in this previous weekend in the golf world I kind of want to touch on. Harman, probably one of my least favorite players on tour, although he's a lefty, picked up the win at the Valero in windy conditions. No one was playing well on Sunday because the wind was howling, but there was a lot of screenshots circulating around between the final round leaderboard of the PGA Tour and the final round leaderboard at the Live in Miami, and the Live Miami leaderboard was stacked with superstars. And the PGA Tour was about as boring as it gets. It was like Brian Harman, Novak, and who else was up there? Mitchell was up there. A lot of
not very notable names
no
for sure.
Names. But the funny
but
thing
why would any of the big names be there the week before the Masters anyways?
Some of them use that or the Houston Open as kind of a tune-up. Ludwig was there. Spieth was there. Spieth was playing not bad. Kind of fell off a little bit. But the thing is even on that Sunday, the PGA Tour, Valero still drew 1.75 million views. And I think this is their biggest one to date because I think it's their first American event. This year was Live drew 488K so in their final round. So even with the stacked leaderboard versus a non-legit, really no one really cares about tournament, the PGA still 3-timed what Live was doing. The one cool thing that I thought that came out of Live though is I watched that duels match, Grant Horvat's YouTube channel. Do you guys get a chance to watch that all the way through?
I haven't yet. No.
It's a good watch. It was really cool. Really
I didn't
well
like
done. You didn't like it?
No.
I'm curious.
So I was really looking forward to it. Last podcast, I said, it's going to be way better than, the PGA Creator Classic, whatever it was. I just thought it was stale at times. I think they need to give, and I know Grant pushed it back a day. It was supposed to be uploaded the day prior. He released a statement and said we need more time to edit it. there was just times where there was like awkward music, not a lot of people
Yeah,
talking.
I was confused
I wish
about
there was
that.
way more banter. Like there was an awkward moment where Wesley Bryan was in the cart with DJ trying to like get DJ to talk, and he was just sitting there like, "Yeah, it's good to be here." Like the
Oh,
most,
talking about, yeah, this is good practice.
yeah, it was good practice for the Masters the week before. And Wesley's like, "Oh, it's great to have you out here. Thank you so much for being out here." And it's like, you guys are like colleagues. You shouldn't be like thank you, like getting on your knees saying thank you to Dustin Johnson for being out there when he's just, I don't know. I was a little bothered. There was some good golf. I think Phil Mickelson and Grant Horvat are super entertaining. They were the most entertaining out of the bunch. And I kind of like the Fat Perez Cam Smith
They
pairing,
were
even though
so
they
short
were,
off the tee. It's like,
yeah, yeah. But
FP's a great golfer, but putting him back at the tips, I mean, he's like, he wasn't
he was
making
barely
the
hitting the
fairway.
fairway. Yeah. So it was okay. I was a little let down. I thought it was going to be better. And I thought there was going to be more banter between the groups, and there just wasn't as much commentary. Even like Bob and
Joey.
Joey were not as like, I just didn't think they were on their game with their commentary either. So it was all right. I think that once they do it again and they have more time to edit, and I think it'll be better because I think like the groups are better and stuff like that. But yeah, DJ sucked.
Yeah, I mean, I also grew a strong hatred for Wesley Bryant. I thought he was really awkward and really weird to watch. Like when George had the, sorry to spoil it, George had the putt in the playoff, and he went kind of crazy before it even went in, and he comes running onto the green screaming like a little kid. I'm like, dude, you look like a fucking goofball. It's like you won a pro tour event, and like you're trying to be content. Like these guys were like your competition and your peers, and now he's clearly defining himself as a content creator, and he's not going
Oh,
to be
for
a pro
sure.
tour player. It seems like he's kind of drawn the line there.
Yeah, I think so too. I did see, I don't know if this is true or not. I saw on Twitter that you mentioned it last week where they like, we're going to not allow these content creators to come back, and they rescinded that. I did see that Wesley Bryan is not available to come back to the tour for a year.
I mean, it
That's what
doesn't
I saw.
surprise me, but I don't think
Yeah.
he's
I don't
really
think
gonna.
he cares, but
Yeah, I don't either. But it was an interesting event. It was cool to see the scramble format. I think having the pros involved, I think maybe having something like that on the PGA Tour and then playing 9 holes maybe be the look, because if you do this Creator Classic, it's really going to be the best players winning, and having a guy like Trent or like some of these other content creators like Gabby Golf Girl or whatever, they're not going to win. It's more so just to have them out there. So I don't know. I mean, for me, have multiple cameras, have them mic'd up, have it be like, let the YouTube people direct it almost with the assistance of the PGA Tour. I don't know. I as much as people give Dan Rappaport a shit show, having him on the mic on the field with Paige Sporanic, I thought was great. It was a good listen with one of the players, but yeah, I can see the
yeah.
production dislike from the live one. I just like the scramble format. I love Sergio. I love Phil. I wouldn't say I love Sergio. I like Sergio. I like Phil. Bubba's awesome. But it's just like Luke Kwan's a pro golfer. He's played T10 and recently in Asian Tour events. Like he's playing pro golf. But I thought that was weird. Augusta National Women's Am was a cool event. I think they only played the one round at Augusta, and there was an ace on hole 1. It was the 5th ace ever coming on that hole, so it was really cool to see that. But a Spaniard
On hole 1, I thought hole 1 was a par 4.
Yeah, she holed out from the fairway.
Oh.
Yep, 5th ace ever on the first hole. Carla Burnett, Escade, she shot -12, a Spaniard to win the Augusta National Women's Am.
Did you say it's pulled out from the fairway?
On hole 1, yeah, a girl did.
So it must have been an eagle.
It was. That's what I said, an eagle.
Oh, you said
you said an ace.
Oh, sorry. No, eagle. My fault. The 5th eagle on 1. I apologize.
Okay. That's why we're like.
That's why I asked.
What?
I was like, wait, what? I thought hole 1 was a par 4.
No, I apologize.
No, you're good.
No, it was cool to see.
I thought you
drove it like 370 some yards.
Yeah.
Damn,
they pushed him up that much. What?
Yeah. But no, it was cool to see. It's a really cool event. And then as well, the T-Mobile Women's Match Play event was last weekend. I just turned it on occasionally through the week, and on Sunday, and I happened to turn it on Sunday when they're all square going to hole 16, and Sagstrom pushes it left of the green. She's like 30, like not even 10 paces off the left side of the green. She aim points at 3 spots on the green and has her caddy laser it from the side of the green. I'm like, we've gone way too fucking far.
I'm left it like 10 feet away still.
So I heard the laser was to see who was out. So that makes it a little bit better.
Okay,
they were trying to see who goes first. But watching that girl aim point on that chip and then come nowhere close to even the line of the chip was terrible. And to follow that up, we have the kids doing the drive, chip, and putt, doing fucking aim point at 8, 10, 12 years old. It's just gotten out of hand.
It's out of control. It's out of like, I've done it a couple times to feel like my putt while I'm walking up to the green, or you kind of walk through your line. I mean, but I'm not sitting there. It's just so aggravating to watch on TV. I don't even do this. I don't even do the finger shit. I just kind of feel it in my feet. I mean, it's so fucking agonizing to watch on TV, and then seeing the kids do it, I'm like, good lord.
I'm never gonna even take the time to even try to figure out what the fuck they're doing.
It's stupid.
Holding your putter up. And,
the plumb bobbing is cool though. I know how to do that. That's a cool trick. That's completely different than aim point. But the one cool story from the drive, chip, and putt, Joseph Hamath Hoover, something, this 10-year-old kid. They were asking all these kids, like, if they got to pick their champion's dinner, what would it be? This one kid's like, I would do pepperoni pizza and breadsticks. And all these other nerd kids are like, I would do, like, steak and all these other fancy shit. This kid's like, I want pepperoni and breadsticks. And then they asked him, he ended up winning his division. They're like, what's your pregame routine? He goes, I listen to Thunderstruck on the way to the golf course. Like, this kid's fucking awesome. I'm like, do you want to come play with us on the weekend? I'm like, this is the kind of kid you want to play with. And all these other kids talking about, I want this specialty pasta or this fish or whatever. Nope, that's a 10-year-old answer. That's a 10-year-old answer to me. It's just like,
right.
Yeah. That's like my favorite part about the Little League World Series, hearing all the kids' favorite stuff.
Yep. I mean, it's great. That's what a 10-year-old should be. I feel like, I don't know how much, like, Jacob, now you reffing more and you guys, like, through your years and seeing other people of, like, kids around that age at the top level of how they interact. And I had the opportunity, when I look back, of seeing some of those kids. There's kids I knew that all they did was play hockey, or like when I played some tournament golf, all they did was that, and they're fucking squares. They're boring. They're one-dimensional people. There was I'm aging myself now. In like 2014 at the World Juniors, Hockey Canada at their top 40 selection camp, they did like a combine of sports. Who could throw a spiral football? Who could hit a golf ball? Who could throw a frisbee? Throw baseball, etc. Just a bunch of different things. And the small percent of people that could do all the sports, let alone just a couple of them, was mind-boggling. And that's where Hockey Canada was like, okay, we need to stop this. Like, stop spitlining your kid through one sport and let them be an athlete, because kids are proven to be more successful in sports when they're athletes and when they're involved in multiple fucking things.
Yeah. I was talking to the baseball coach here in town, and he was like, yeah, he also coaches the golf team, and he's got a kid on the team that went to state this year. He's only a junior. He's pretty solid. I've golfed with him a handful of times, and he's had a few calls, and he's like, literally every single coach calls and says, does he only play golf, or is he a multi-sport athlete? He's like, nope, he plays golf, basketball, and baseball. Like, okay, that's what we want. So even college coaches understand that being an athlete's more important than being just focusing on the one sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think being an athlete too lets you be more coachable. I know, like, when you get to the higher levels, and regardless of the age, that's one thing that they really lean on is, are you coachable? And I feel like a lot of these one-dimensional kids, whether it's chess or whether it's music or whether it's golf, they're so zoned in and thinking they're the only thing that matters, and it's tough to coach them. And I feel like it's an even smaller percent of who make it if they dive themselves in 24/7. Versus these kids who get to be a kid and get to try other things. So sorry for going down that kind of tangent, but was there anything else you guys kind of noticed from the previous weekends before we get into the greatest week of golf?
The only other thing I wanted to say about the drive, chip, and putt, one of the kids won their division, and they asked him, like, what do you want to do after you win or whatever like that? He's like, I want I want to go to a Blues game, and then he said something else that was like unobtainable. But I thought it was cool. The Blues reached out to him and got him tickets to like one of the last home games of the season.
That's awesome.
Because he's from the area, so I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
So leading us in to the greatest week of the year, I would say, for us golf fans. Speaking of tickets, there's a fun story. I don't know if we talked about it a couple weeks ago with the players. You guys ever hear the story lingering about the Ontario boys? The Monday
You told us about it.
Yeah, so that story got so big, they ended up getting to the players. They got a bunch of merch. They ended up getting to play TPC. They played a bunch of shit down there. Then they go back up, and then lo and behold, Corey Connors reaches out to them, got them tickets to the Masters, got them a place to stay, and he ended up taking them around the course. I guess it was 3 of their 4 friends. Like the 4th guy, just said he couldn't go. That guy's probably shipping himself off to Uganda
Right.
for the situation that he's missed. He could have went to TPC for free. I mean, they drove 26 hours from Toronto down to Florida.
Yeah.
Then of all the shit they got to do down there, now they get to go to the Masters, and they're walking around with Corey Connors. They got to go see the ping truck, I guess, and they got a bunch of shit. That 4th guy's got to change his name and move to Mars or something. Like that's just
Shit.
How do you live off of that? How do you live from that one, missing that opportunity?
You can't.
Right. Hey, before we start the Masters, though, speaking of ping, what do you guys think about lab putters?
See,
Just kidding.
didn't we talk about this last week?
We've talked about last 4 weeks.
Fuck.
You bring it up every
I thought
week.
you were actually getting ready to get
I
into
thought
it,
you
weren't
were.
you?
I'm like, I swear we've talked about this before.
Your hate for lab putters is equivalent to mine with Caleb Williams.
If I picked one up, I bet I would. Everyone, you that instant love with it for the center shaft shit. But I don't know. I think it's becoming an epidemic. We're not gonna go down that fucking loophole again. Fuck you for that one.
Dude, those guys made it out like bandits though for
Yeah.
going down to the players and then getting to go to Augusta, getting swag out the ass, all of that. So
Oh God. But
lucky to be them.
lucky to be them. Yep. But it's fucking Masters Week. I was glued to my phone and Twitter, checking everything all day at work. I specifically set up time for me doing busy work at my computer this week, so I can stay attached to my phone. And I think I watched every second I physically could, starting today, because we got nothing yesterday on Monday because of the weather that rained everything out.
Yeah, I thought the people there at Augusta were rich enough to control the weather and get the rain out of the forecast for the week, because you don't see squirrels on the golf course or
Yeah, I thought it was in a
clouds
dome,
in the
honestly.
sky. Yeah,
Right.
I thought it was just some
Had a
crazy
bubble over it like
Exactly.
The Simpsons. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really crazy. I saw a bunch of stats about, I think maybe Jacob, it was you who sent it to me, or maybe it was Mark, about the stats of Augusta, Georgia. It's a small town of, or small city of a couple 100,000 people on the border of Georgia and South Carolina. The biggest international airport is a 2.5-hour drive away. They have 3 terminals. They hire an additional 200 people to come work the airport the couple weeks around the Masters time. Everyone who owns homes there leaves unless they own a business, and the price for a rental skyrockets by 40 times of what it's costed to live there. I mean, people make their yearly mortgage off of some of these homes that they own. I mean, it's just crazy tourism time. I would cut my left arm off to get the chance to go there one day, but let's fucking get right into it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I have clients in Augusta, by the way. They say it's a terrible town until like this time of year for the Masters. It's just like a kind of not a great city, and then it gets obviously really ramped up for the Masters, and then goes right back to normal after it. But it's beautiful this time of year for the tournament. So
the Masters.
I've never looked.
The Masters is starting up when John Daly's. Sorry, Jacob. When John Daly's posted up at the local Hooters, right outside Augusta.
Yeah, I was just saying. I don't. What have you guys ever looked up like what a membership at the Augusta would cost?
You can't. I thought you can't buy one. I thought you have to be invited.
Yeah,
really?
It's like it's so exclusive that there's not a price tag associated with it. You have to like get in by invitation from members, or
because I'm sure billionaires have tried buying in or saying I'll donate X amount, and they're like, we don't operate like that. You have to get invited. because like I think JT's a member at Augusta, even though he hasn't won. Like there's other pro athletes and public figures who I'm sure are members there. But yeah, that'd be once in a lifetime fucking opportunity. Shit.
Yeah, Matt Stafford said he'd played there a couple times. He did the Break 50 series with Bryson, and it was this week. And he said he obviously was one of the best quarterbacks to ever come out of the University of Georgia. So he probably got invited a couple times when he was, playing down there. So he said it's his favorite course that he's ever played. But I know how exclusive it is to get on the course.
Could there be another favorite course other than Augusta if you got to play that course?
Probably not. He said I think he said Cypress was another one of his top.
Cypress Point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the big news from today, the tee times and the groupings were released. And were we ever blessed with some of these pairings? I think some of the other ones, even with some of the non-big names, still some pretty good ones. Some cool guys to see back in the swing of things on the main TV. Sergio, Bubba. Cool to see out there. But there's about half dozen to 10, I think, powerhouse groupings. Morikawa, Neiman, Minwoo Lee. Just ball striking craziness going on there. A big one for me, Phil, who technically they were saying was projected to be the Ryder Cup captain come this Ryder Cup rotation, if granted he didn't go to live. Then you have the current Ryder Cup captain, Keegan Bradley and Jason Day. Scotty, JT, and the Low-Am, Jose Luis Ballester. It's always a tradition. The Am plays with the previous winner. Spieth, Kim, and Hatton. That's going to be, if a group could be defined as what snorting an 8-ball of cocaine could be, I think it'd be that group. You have two of the most vocal guys who've ever played on tour, and Spieth and Hatton playing together, then probably one of the slower golfers on tour, Tom Kim. So that'll be interesting. Rory, Ludwig, and Akshay, another powerhouse group. It'd be really cool to see those three teed off in the afternoon. Hideki, Bryson, and Shane Lowry, another kind of got three major winners in there. Hideki has his Masters in 21. Bryson has his 2. And then Shane has his 1 Open win. And to wrap it around, we have John Rahm, Wyndham Clark, and Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah, there's some good pairings out there. I think my favorite's the Rory Oberg and Akshay. I think that's probably my favorite group out of it. But I think sneaky too is the Phil, Keegan, Jason Day group. I hope Phil plays well. But it's just kind of a little bit older school guys that are out there in the same group together. So it'll be cool to see them play together.
As a longtime Phil fan, even though he kind of got off the rocker with social media a little bit, I think it might be kind of cool if him and Keegan maybe get close through this week and Phil maybe gets a sneaky invite as an assistant captain for the Ryder Cup. Very fucking doubtful because I think all the captain's assistants have been picked already, but it would just be cool.
Yeah.
But no, it's going to be really, really crazy. But I mean, one thing they've talked about too is would you guys rather play early, late Thursday, Friday, or late than early Thursday, Friday? I don't know what the stats are behind it between each course, but out of preference, what would you rather play?
I rather play early and then late on Friday.
Any reason behind it?
No, just get out there, get your day over with on Thursday, see what you did, give yourself time to go out and hit some balls after the round or whatever, get some practice in if need be, and then coming back in the morning, getting in your groove and not rushing.
I'm almost opposite, only because if I'm in contention or like not worrying about making a cut, then there's like a good gap of time. Like if you do early round Friday, then you have like all afternoon to maybe practice, get some rest, decompress a little bit before your Saturday round. So I think I might be opposite.
I think I would be early, late, just for the reason of depending how you'd play Thursday, Friday, you can kind of come to the course knowing if you have to go low to try and make the cut or where you're going to kind of fall come the weekend. I feel like the fate's kind of in your hands of how you want to perform come Friday. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it would be, but I don't know what the stats say for early, late, late, early. The conditions look like they're going to be just pristine all weekend. So there's going to be no wind turbines blowing through like there was last year on Thursday, Friday. So that'll be cool.
Nice.
But of the tee times, there was one withdraw before we got into the Masters. So there will be, depending on what the weekend looks like, because they don't bring in their honorary player during Thursday and Friday. It's only if there's ever a single, then they have someone come and play with them. Vijay Singh withdrew from injury, so he will not be making a return to the Masters this year.
Darn. I like seeing the old school guys that have won it in the past go out there and play, because you've got a couple guys that seem to always perform well. Like, I'm really rooting for Freddie Couples this week just to like make the cut, because he always makes the cut. I was watching that. I think you watched it too today. We watched the 2010 recap from the Masters, and Freddie was in contention that whole weekend. So it's cool. I like to see some of the old school guys, because it seems like they know how to play the course and can usually make a cut. They're not usually in contention, but they're at least making the weekend.
Well, that's like, speaking of old people, Bernhard Langer, old man Langer, the winningest guy on the senior tour, possible anchor on his body using the grandfather putter, making his last Masters start. Two-time Masters winner, only Masters winner from Germany. Mercedes-Benz made him a custom car. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures kind of lingering around. He got a one-of-one Mercedes-Benz made for him.
Hell yeah.
Kind of clean. It looks pretty nice. So they're kind of doing that to honor him. I would expect, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think he makes the honorary tee shot group?
I see it.
Because, I mean, you got to think next, whenever Tiger will do it. You think one day? You don't think he'll be too?
Yeah, he'll be up there at some point.
Okay, so 10 years from now, who do you think the guys are up there? Tom Watson might be around when he's like 68 now, 70. Maybe he won't be.
Yeah, I was watching a clip of good old Jack. He looks a little rough. Yeah, walking around there on the green. I don't know. That's a good question. I think that I think possibly Phil could be up there.
Yeah.
Two-time Masters winner, obviously one of the best golfers of all time when you look at, all-time wins.
3 Masters wins, I thought.
I thought it was 2.
Research team will look it up.
2010, 2004,
and then 2000,
3 or 4. I thought he had one more.
I'm getting it.
2012? I think it was 20.
I thought that was Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba was 12 and 14. 13 was Scott.
2004, 2006, and 2010.
Okay, so 3.
So it was prior to 2010. Yeah, because he won in 04, and then he gave the jacket to Tiger. Then Tiger gave the jacket back to him.
Gotcha.
Tied for second in 2023. That was his most recent closest finish.
Yeah. I think it would be Phil, Tiger. I don't know who else would be up there, but those would be the 2 locks for me.
Yeah. But
speaking of Phil, did you see that thing I sent you guys where he used to always message Dustin Johnson every week, or like a couple weeks before, and he'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing for dinner Tuesday night?" And he'd always respond back like, "Oh man, I'm doing this or doing that." He's like, "Oh, never mind, I'm going to be at the Champions dinner." And then a couple of years or whenever he won it, he responded back and was like, "Hey, fuck you, motherfucker! I know what I'm going to be doing Tuesday night before the Masters starts."
Yeah, that was COVID year. DJ won.
Yeah, and then they asked, because it wasn't in April; it was later on in the season. They asked, "Well, do you ever send it to Rory?" And he said, "No, I think Rory would probably tell me off," and so I just don't send it to him.
So speaking of Rory, him and Colin were both kind of drilled in the media center again about their previous statements of not owing anyone anything in press conferences and all this kind of stuff, and they both quadruple down. I don't know if it'd be tripling down for Rory and quintupling down for Colin, but Colin made a comment. It's like basketball, hockey, baseball players, football players, they're obligated. It's part of their deal. They have to speak to the media regardless, or they get fined. That's not our job. It's like he basically told the reporter, he goes, "You only ask us when you want to ask us. You don't ask us when we're grinding around through the top 10. He's like, "I've been a top 10 player in the world for a long time. You don't ask me how I'm doing yet. You try and get things out of me when stuff's not going right. So if you want to do it, you got to be consistent." then I'll consistently
Right.
give you answers, which is a fair statement. And I think it's fair. I mean, don't golfers, and this is our third or fourth time talking about this, just like the fucking lap putters, is golfers don't owe anyone anything. They can be pissed.
No, I like that Rory's kind of sticking to his guns on that because you're right. They are out there to get a story, and they're not going to follow you when you just get a top 10 and it's a another whatever weekend, another you know just average day or average week on tour. It's when they miss a putt or choke down the stretch or whatever is when they want to get a reaction, they want to get a story, and they're not like you said consistent with the questions. It's always just when it's opportune for them to get a story. So I like that they're kind of doubling down on it and sticking to their guns and not switching it up at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, I relate that to like baseball umpires. Like there was one the other day that had missed 22 calls all game, and they're giving them shit because they got that K zone on there. There was 223 pitches that whole game. He missed 22 of them. He was still like 96% accurate. Yet they bitch about those 22. So it's kind of like the same thing as that. Don't if you're not gonna praise them when they're doing good, don't bring them down when they're not. So
Yeah.
I agree.
No, to me, it's cool to see the character out of the players kind of firing back at the media because, like, Scotty's even been one to jab back at guys when they're asking about the course or asking about certain stuff. He goes, "You're looking for me to say one thing, then you're going to spin it the other way." He's like, I'm not going to buy into it." The one person who made a comment, and he even kind of he made a couple comments, and the one he jumped back on was John Rahm when they were talking about some trees that got lost at Augusta from the bad storms over the years since the last Masters. He's like, yeah, there might be this one spot where you can kind of go over where the tree used to be, but you don't have to worry about that tree anymore. Then he instantly redacted his comment by saying, "I probably shouldn't say that. I'm going to come to the course tomorrow, and there's going to be a 70-foot tree there in the way with the way that the grounds crew works here. So I'm going to keep that to myself moving forward." Then the other thing that he said is they were asking him about official world golf rankings, and then his comment was, he goes, "Does anyone know where I am in the world golf rankings? Am I still inside the top 100?" And because he's like, after this week, hopefully I still be, but if I'm not, I really don't care. And he's like, "Yeah, I wish we were in a different spot, but he really doesn't care. He's here to compete and win." And he said one thing that was really cool was that he said last year when he came to the Masters, he was really under a lot of fire as the reigning Masters champion, the shit he got from going to live. But he's like, this year, all that matters to me is my family gets to travel with me to the Masters and they get to be here. And he goes, that means more to me than anything in golf. So it's just cool to see of the nostalgia and the really power of what the Masters brings to everyone involved.
Yeah, it seems like it's truly like, even with, obviously with all the spectators, like the Masters is the pinnacle of golf, but even the players talk about how special it is to be on the grounds. Like Bryson was like, it's so peaceful being here, and my favorite part is being on the range when the sun sets and just feeling like the peace and the calmness of Augusta and the beauty of it. And then you have like videos of like Adam Scott. They asked him what was in his little, valuables pouch, and he pulls it out of his, master's locker, and it's a pouch from Augusta from like 20 years ago before he even won at Augusta, and he carries it in his bag every day, and there's like an Augusta, ball marker in there, and, there's a Rolex watch in there that's got like the colors of the Masters, and you can just tell that the Masters is truly special even to the guys that are playing it. So, it's cool to see that for sure. I can't imagine like those first time guys being able to step onto the grounds for the first time, how surreal that moment is being on that course and getting to play it. I'm sure it's crazy.
Well, I saw a brief little interview with Joe Highsmith, and he was talking how he remembers watching the Masters from a young age when he was a kid. He even used to make excuse notes for his parents when he was in middle school, calling in sick the week of the Masters. Then his parents ended up picking on about it, that he's wanting to watch the Masters and stay home from school. Believe me, all of us are still like that. I wish I didn't have to work Thursday, Friday, and I could sit at home and watch golf all day. But he was even talking, he's been there a couple times as a spectator, and being there inside the ropes for the first time is just a completely different experience. And all of the traditional things that come with going to Augusta, all the amateurs staying in the crow's nest the night before, all the stuff the winner gets, which I saw beyond just the green jacket and the prize pool of what they get. The champions locker forever, the champions dinner. They get the trophy they get is 40% the size of the original trophy. They get a gold pendant with something engraved on it in a picture. I think it's Arnold or maybe it's Bobby Jones on the inside of it's meant to go to the wife. They get a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But speaking of champions, what are your guys' thoughts on Scotty's repeat champions dinner menu, basically?
Besides the tortilla soup.
Yeah, that's off. He did Papa Chef's ravioli.
Chili.
Chili? I thought there was ravioli on there.
It's Papa Chef's chili. It looks really fucking good. I would eat the shit out of it. I'm not going to lie.
The tortilla soup sounds fire.
That's
but the old guys thought it was too spicy.
It was too hot.
Yeah. Guys were coughing and choking it up. But I saw something that was like, what is the worst? And it's fucking, was it Bubba? He had just like grilled chicken. He had ice cream with sprinkles and like a Caesar salad.
Yeah.
It was like the worst.
Bubba, though.
Yeah, it was the worst.
The best one that people were saying is when they showed Hideki's menu. I mean, like A5 Wagyu beef and all this different type of nigiri and specialty sushi. And I'm like, the dude pulled out the red carpet. I mean, could you expect anything less? I mean, I feel like Japanese food culture is just so crazy.
Right.
Yeah, Spieth said that's his favorite. Smiley Coffin was just interviewing who's kind of the guy that leads the champions dinner anymore. I can't think of his name. Hold on, I'll look it up.
Is it a previous champion?
Yeah, it's like an old school guy.
Oh God, I'd have no idea. This is like the guy who coordinates it or something?
Yeah, he's kind of just like so it used to be I'm just totally blanking. It's a terrible story. Don't mind me. But he was on the Smiley Show talking about the dinner, and it got passed. It was tradition for one of the old guys that passed away, and he took over. And Smiley was asking what his favorites were, and he said Hideki, and then he said one of the old guys brought like haggis from Ireland, and Smiley was like, "How was that?" He was like, "It was terrible." So there's been some pretty awful ones, just of like guys that have, given a nod to their home cooked meals. So I just thought it was kind of a funny tidbit of info from that. So,
well, I'm really curious to pick your guys' brain on thoughts, long shots, who you think is maybe overhyped. But according to all the stat nerds, we're just like how college basketball said winner comes from this and that, and team whose defense and offense scores, all this kind of shit. All the golf stat nerds went crazy. There's like a number of 7 players who all fall into this category, then 4 in this category, and you can all kind of suspect. But the stat nerd golf committee said, statistically speaking, Shane Lowry should be the 2025 Masters winner. Now, I would not be too overly upset if Shane Lowry won. I think it's been, 15 years since his last major win? He won in, 2000, won the Open in, 2009, 2010?
It's really been that long?
He was young. He was really young.
Huh. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd mind. I think there's at least, 10 to 15 players I'd rather have than Shane Lowry,
Sure.
but he's up there. I think it'd be cool. But yeah, I saw a TikTok of like, just like you said, like the, all of the nerds that, pick March Madness winners, they all fall into this category and this quadrant of like fast play, low turnovers, whatever it is. And I saw the same thing with the Masters. So, You could end up having Danny Willett win though, so there's times where just random guys win the Masters.
Yeah, I had to explain to Schmitty because he saw some TikToks of like 2012 to 2016 Spieth, because he's like, I wasn't really watching golf a ton at that point, and he wasn't really a golf fan yet. And he's like, what was Spieth like during that time? I go, well, he had like 2 or 3 majors in his pocket at a time. He was up for basically doing what Scotty was doing now. He didn't have as many tournament wins, but he was so lethal at majors. He almost won the Masters. What was it, 2013? He would have been the youngest ever. He was like 19 or 20. Ended up winning his first one in 15, and he should have won in 16, but he put 3 in the water. And so it was crazy what he did, and it's crazy that what golf can do, and the guys who keep coming back and can do well. So that's where I kind of want to get into is who are some people that you guys are watching, who you're kind of rooting for as we go into the Masters.
I'm watching Scotty, of course, but I am a Spieth guy because 15th year I graduated, so seeing him win, and when I graduated, I remember he just stood in my head as like that guy. So watching him and seeing him perform would be cool. Long shot, we'll get into in a minute, but Scotty and him are my main two, and just hoping Rory doesn't do anything crazy.
Do you mean crazy good or crazy bad?
Crazy good.
Fair enough. Chase?
I've got a couple. The little side tangent here. If everybody created an app like the Masters app, I would be so fucking happy because the Masters app is literally the definition of a perfect app. If you had that for like hockey or play, like just any sport in general where you can track that many stats, it would be awesome. I'd be a stat nerd and I'd be like, it's just awesome. Anyways, I marked, you can mark your favorite players and you can keep track. So I have a list of quite a few, but I think the main few that stick out is Scotty, Spieth, Justin Thomas, Phil, and then I have Bryson on there as well. Freddie Couples, like I had mentioned. But those are kind of the few that I'm tracking, I guess, and keeping an eye on.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I did leave one off the list. It'd be Bryson DeChambeau because I think he's got everything to do, and I've just started loving him even more and more watching his YouTube shit. And I don't know, I would just be happy to see him get another win under the belt too.
The turnaround on Bryson haters to Bryson lovers is insane. It's
is.
crazy.
Right?
I used to be a hater, and now I fucking love the guy. So
see, I think, and I don't know if this is boomer golf of me or superstitious. I think ever since he called Augusta par 67 with like 2017, 2018, I think the golf gods will forever strike him from ever winning at Augusta, from damning their holy land. That's just my kind of tinfoil hat moment. But I mean, of course, I'm watching Rory. I feel like this is statistically one of his better years since early Rory extravaganza when he was winning a ton of majors. I would love for a Spieth victory. I think that'd be really cool. I love him significantly more than JT, I would say. Scotty doing it again. I'm all about someone breaking records just as Ovi surpassed regrets. Seeing someone like Scotty continue to put the foot to the metal. This is his first time. He never had a tour win coming into the Masters since 2021, which is fucking insane. So, I mean, some of the other guys I'd be happy with. Ludwig, Shane I'd be quite impressed with. None of the really Canadians stand out to me. It'd be cool to see Mike Weir near the top again. Freddie, fucking love Freddie. I think my sleeper pick is Phil. I think the guy's done really well at Augusta over the years. He's made 28 of 31 cuts. He has 3 wins. He always, the Masters is statistically better for lefties. And he's always kind of been my guy over the years. Really hope Wyndham Clark and Patrick Cantlay shoot 905 on Thursday and Friday, and they both miss the cut.
What about Patrick Reed? The big Patrick Reed guy?
He's whatever. I don't hate him. I don't love him.
Fucking cheater.
I wouldn't say I love Bryson. I'm rooting for him. I don't hate him, but I think if any live player for me to win would be Phil, Sergio, Bubba, or maybe even Waco. I know a lot of people have talked about him coming into the tournament for his ball striking.
Even you.
Yeah, I mean for his ball striking, but I don't think he'll get it done. He hasn't statistically done well. I keep talking about statistics, in the majors over the years, but it'd be cool to see. Just Brooks maybe add another one. I think adding another one would really put a knife in the back of Rory, but he hasn't done well, I think, in the last little bit. No, him and DJ.
Yeah, him and DJ kind of suck now, I think they're the two guys that are just like, fuck it. Like, we got the bag. Like, we don't, like, Because
I was
Brooks, even before he went to live, he was like, I don't like golf. He's like, I'm good at it and I'm playing it for my career. But you can tell he's not like passionate about the game of golf. He's not a golf nerd. He wants to be out there. He wants to play his round. He wants to be done and off to the next thing. So I think DJ the same way. DJ likes the booger sugar too much anymore to be
He likes to go
to
skiing a
be
little bit.
competitive, but no, I
I was
think
watching DJ's highlights from like 20, I don't know, 16 or 17 was whenever he was in the push. He didn't win, but he looked like a baby compared to like what he looks like now. No beard. He looked like a little child out there.
So that's like when because he has the low scoring record at the Masters in 2020, and a lot of that people tailored to the fact it was at a completely different time of year. The course was much softer, it was in a completely different condition, and guys were able to fire at pins a ton. Because he holds the lowest tournament record at the Masters. But he kind of seems like he's not going to be too exciting. But I don't know. I'm super excited to see all these guys back in action. It's our first time everyone's coming back together of the year. What are your guys' thoughts on Cam Smith?
He's Cam Smith.
Do you think he can maybe make a push? Anything dangerous?
No, I don't think so.
I really think I really feel like the only guy that can make a true push from live is Bryson. And maybe, like you said, I think Phil plays that course so well. Obviously, he has 3 wins. He knows how to play that course. And he looked good at Live Miami. And he's apparently changed his mindset. He's a golf nerd, so I think he's really trying this year. Obviously, he had that T2 a couple years ago, but I think Phil has it. Outside of that, I don't see a lot of those live guys being in contention. I could be very wrong. I thought Cam Smith was going to be like the next guy when he won the Open, and then he obviously defected over to live. But yeah, I think Bryson is my only guy out of the group that I really feel has like a real chance of being in contention late.
And what about Rombo?
I don't know.
This is just unknown.
I just think it's unknown because I don't follow live enough, and you don't really get like a true feel. In my opinion, on where their golf game is at coming into the tournament. So it's really hard to say. Like you can look at a lot of the guys on the PGA Tour and kind of be like, yeah, he's probably going to struggle at the Masters this year. He's just not like in peak, form. Where I look at the live guys, I'm like, I have no idea how he's playing right now.
And I only know how Bryson's playing because of his YouTube channel, not because of.
And how real of like tournament golf is that, right? But like
Right.
he looked good at Miami. He shot, I think he was like the leader going into round 2 or round 3, and he shot like a 75 on Sunday. But I don't know. Do you think any of those guys have a chance besides Bryson?
I think it's. I mean, unless I want to say it, Bryson or Phil. And then the other two for me would be Brooks or John Rahm. I think they're Rahm winning in 2023 in a pretty substantial fashion. I think Brooks is a major machine. Whether he's played well recently or not, he always seems to find a way to turn it on when majors come around. And who knows, I think DJ maybe could be a surprise. It seems like he's kind of been doing better in the live atmosphere, but that's from my limited live knowledge. But now there's a handful of PGA Tour guys we haven't really talked about. Morikawa is one of I think he's leading in strokes gained approach. Tommy Fleetwood still has yet to find a win on the PGA Tour. Could it be the Masters? And other names. I mean, Max Homa, fired caddy, new coaches, new brand. Is he even going to make the cut? Thoughts about JT going into the weekend? I know you guys kind of talked about rooting for him. I mean, what are your thoughts on some of those guys?
I think Max Homa's still going to suck. JT, what?
Oh, I just think it's funny.
Did you see his stat? The stat cast, obviously on the range, you can see everybody's how many balls they've hit, the ball flight, all of that.
I saw some guy.
He's hit by far the most shots on the range today. Max Homa is out there grinding the range, and I think that's a bad sign for
Yeah.
his, like, he's trying to find something and he can't find it. So he's out there like trying to fucking find something that's going to work this week because he's missed how many cuts in a row at this point?
A lot.
He's literally at rock bottom, I think, in his golf game and his career. And he's out there grinding the range. 270 shots, I think, is what it said. He's hit so far on the range today. And so I'm a little worried about Homa, obviously. I think he's a lock to miss the cut. So
Yeah, no, I think Max is going to suck still. But JT, I feel like he's been playing better golf as of late. So he has not gotten a green jacket, correct?
He doesn't have a single win on the PGA Tour.
Justin Thomas?
No, I thought you said Tommy Fleetwood. Sorry, JT hasn't won the Masters, no.
Oh, I was like...
No, I thought you said Fleetwood. I apologize.
JT, yeah. No, I'm not talking about JT Poston. He's won the John Deere Classic. But no, Justin Thomas, I feel like he's been playing... Yeah. I feel like he's been playing better, so I could see him not missing the cut, but I don't think he's going to win either. But I think it's going to be a past winner or Bryson DeChambeau. I think that's going to be the...
So you think it'll be a top-level guy, top 10 in the world, high-competing guy who wins the Masters?
I can tell you who I put my money on. My $10 from the sports book app is Xander.
Whoa!
Did you?
Plus 2,200. I think that's good. Like, that's fairly like decent odds. I know Xander's been out for most of the year. He's coming back. I think he's into form. I think he has a really good chance. I think out of a lot of the guys at that like plus 2,200, where you have, because I don't want to pick Scotty or Rory with money because it's just like it's
plus
whatever at that point.
Plus like 600,
460 or something like that. So I don't want to put money on that. So there was like either it was like JT at plus 2,000, Xander at plus 2,200. So I put $10 down on Xander. So I'll be following him a little bit this week, and you know,
Nice.
if he wins, it's $210. So
Who would your long shot winner be?
Phil.
I say either Akshay or Davis Thompson. They're both playing pretty decent golf.
Davis Thompson was the number one guy that brought up the conversation of leading and running away with the tournament when no one important is playing when he won the John Deere Classic last year. I don't think he can get it done. I think Akshay could. I think Akshay's been in the bigger situations longer. I think he could be a long shot.
Has Akshay won a tournament?
Yes.
What tournament?
He won the Valero last year. That's what got him into the Masters last year.
Yeah, and then he's won like the Sony or something.
So another tournament that nobody's playing in, and he runs away with it.
What's the difference between that and Davis Thompson? He's been competing in more of the bigger events. He's been up inside the running in majors.
Have you not seen Davis Thompson all year so far? Competing in everything.
I think he's in my pick list that we might get into later.
I think he's in both of ours.
Not mine.
I don't know if
he's my wild card, I think. Oh, no, he's my first timer.
First timer.
I don't know if he's a long shot. I have two, if you consider them long shots. Tony Finau, I think has a good chance. He's been playing really good, or not really good, but he's consistent. And then Corey Connors, who's I think he's like the top 10 GOAT right now. Like, he just creeps up the leaderboard on Sunday, and he's like T5. He banks 500K, and he's he gets on to the next one. But
the final pairing or second final pairing, then goes dormant. So like when he was in the final pairing at the API, he made 1 birdie and 17 bars.
I'm just saying he's on my list along with Finau as I would say long shots.
I think of Tony Finau every time I think of the Masters and Tony Finau's when he hit that hole in one or something, was running down and snapped his ankle. Ugh.
Bro, I thought he was gonna do it again last week when he had his hole in one at the fucking Valero. He started jumping up and running. And I was like, please don't break your ankle the week before the fucking Masters again. Dude, he just pops it back and
Yeah, did he still play in the Masters that year? I think he did, didn't he?
Another
just hobbled around.
Another funny Finau story was when he was in the Sunday pairing with Tiger, and he ended up talking about it later when they did the documentary on Tiger winning his 2019 Masters. He kept trying to talk with Tiger, oh, how's the family, how's the kids, and it wasn't
Tiger looked at him. They're fine.
And then and
I figured out I don't want to talk to him.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't want to talk.
He doesn't want to talk to me. I don't want to talk to him. That's like it goes back to, I don't know if it was Jim Nance or someone, where they're like, everyone dreams of being in the hunt with Tiger on a Sunday. It's like, no, the fuck you don't.
Yeah, no.
But then following that clip, I saw another little video of when KJ Choi hunted down Tiger on Sunday and beat him. And when he was winning, his caddy in the post. This is when they were doing a video about it. KJ went to his caddy. He goes, "Tiger's scared," and it was when KJ surpassed him in the PGA. So I think that might be the one and only time someone hunted down Tiger on a Sunday. It might be the only time.
Yeah.
Was KJ the one in that 2010 Masters that was in the hunt with Phil?
Yeah.
And,
So
I mean,
I had when I was cleaning this afternoon. I had that on the TV and.
Cleaning.
Fuck off. It was KJ and Tiger played together all 4 rounds that Masters. They shot the exact same score Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to play with each other again on Sunday, which is fucking crazy. But no, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I know you kind of hinted at it there, guys. So what kind of, like you said, the Masters app is the greatest sports watching app known to man, no questions asked. And we've all graciously been invited to a fantasy league, courtesy of our co-host Jacob. So let's hear your guys' fantasy picks for the week.
Mind you, the fantasy part is a little archaic.
Yeah,
the fantasy group is called Corey Sucks because he does.
And almost all the team names are
roasting Corey.
It's a shit on Corey fantasy group, I guess.
And then you got all these cool names, and then you got Chase Orm.
Yep. I didn't know what to name it. I tried to just put Chase and said that's already been taken. I was like, well, fuck, I can't put that. So I don't know.
So there's 5 categories: past champ, United States winner, international, first timer, and wild card. So for my past champ, I picked Scotty Scheffler.
How do you not?
Huh?
How do you not?
You're right. Bryson DeChambeau for my United States pick. International, I picked Ludwig, Swedish God Oberg. First timer, Davis Thompson, as I just talked about. And my wild card, Akshay, as I also just talked about.
So before we continue rattling off, have you guys? So I love seeing what's the word they use for it when they show their outfits, their forecasts. They have a special word they use for when they show what they're wearing Thursday through Sunday. It'll come to me.
Their lineup, maybe
something like that. Ludwig's been wearing these old style Adidas sweatsuit jackets with the three stripes down the arm sleeve, like the old Russian mob.
European
he looks like
of
a
him.
Fucking baller. Just
one of you two said something about it today.
Yeah, I think I said the pics you guys. Just a handsome fella. He's just rocking that old style Adidas.
The Swedish God.
It's kind of like soccer-ish almost.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's gay.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah, I was actually feeding into that.
Right, who do you got, Chase?
Mine's pretty similar. I think you guys will be upset about my wild card, but it's all right. Past champ Scotty. I think that's the best pick there. United States Bryson. International Tommy Fleetwood. I think he's got a good shot. First timer. I also have Davis Thompson, and then wild card Patrick Cantlay.
Disgusting. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
It's not that I want him to do well. I just think strategically.
Fair enough.
I think
he's a good wild card.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, I also picked Scotty as my past champ because, like I said, don't win 60 seconds ago. How the fuck do you not pick Scotty? This pick kind of irked me a little bit. I'm not his biggest fan, but I think he'll be up there as Colin Morikawa from a United States player. I had to take Rory International. I'm praying he fucking wins finally. Suck it, Jacob. He's going to win. First timer, I went with Two Gloves McGee, Iron Cover, Aaron Rye. I almost picked Taylor Pendrith. I thought maybe root with the Canadian, but he's done like okay this year. Went with Rye, my wild card. I went with my boy Phil. I had to ride with him somewhere, so picked Phil. I see statistically the Cantlay picks and Bryson will probably be up there. So, no, I'm real excited for Masters weekend.
I was surprised they had Bryson in the wild card category still too.
He wasn't in.
Got it?
Aren't they? Isn't everyone in wild card?
Oh, is everybody? Oh,
I thought so.
Yeah, I think it's just. Yeah, I think it's like almost like a open spot. Like it doesn't have to fit any criteria. It can just be whoever you want to pick in the wild card.
it's a utility player.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. I was looking through. I wanted to see how many people picked Scotty as past champs in our league because there's probably what 10, 12 of us in there now at
There's
this point.
12.
12.
Yeah.
10 out of the 12 picked Scotty. 1 picked John Rahm, and then 1 picked Spieth for the past champs.
What a
selection.
diehard fan! You have to fucking respect that one. That's a lot of
So-
respect for that one.
Spieth is Mark.
Gotta respect the Spieth pick.
Really? So the John Rahm is Katie's brother, and I'm looking through, and he doesn't have because there's a couple spots you can pick Scotty. Doesn't have Scotty picked at all.
Does Mark have Scotty in any of the spots, in American or Scott?
Which one's Mark? You said he's the Trees preferred? No,
That's JD.
he's the warm transfusions. He's got Scotty in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
US
He's
pick.
got Scotty
Yeah.
picked. So, question for you guys, unless there's any other players you want to talk about before we get into the true heart of Augusta.
I have one question. It's a little off topic.
Sure.
You get a ticket to the Masters. You go to the merch tent. What's your spending limit at the merch tent? What are you putting on? What are you putting your like hard cap at?
Because the merch is still pretty cheap there, isn't it?
It's like 80, 90 bucks a polo.
It's pretty normal priced, I'd say.
Oh, okay. So it's just the food that's cheap.
Yeah, they get the money out of the merch tent.
I'm saying $400 to $500.
$1,000
I
to
said I
$1,500.
put 500.
1,000 to 1,500.
Yours is 15.
Maybe 15. Probably 1,000.
I think it's like a once in a lifetime thing. So you go like full on expecting to spend.
Like
that
if I
much.
won the tickets and I'm not buying them secondhand and paying $1,000+ and I won them and I'm paying like sticker price, yeah, I'm gonna drop a fucking wad at the merch tent 100%.
See, my thing is, I'll spend the $400 to $500, but then later on, I'm going to order a hat like what Chase has right now, and I'm just be like,
Just say,
I
bought merch. It's acceptable.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I would like definitely. I was looking because everybody's doing their merch haul because a lot of people got to go to the merch tent on Monday, even though the round was canceled or like practice was canceled. They were able to shop at the merch tent, so everybody was doing their merch haul on TikTok and showing it off. I would definitely get like a couple polos, a couple hats, but then I'm getting like if I can pick up the garden gnome, I'm picking up the garden gnome. I'm picking up like some of the really cool shit that like you really can only
For sure,
get.
getting a driver cover, probably a towel for the bag.
Yeah, the flag is like a must. It seems like.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
polos, hats, flags, ball marker. Probably I'm a shot glass collector. Maybe a pint glass, head cover.
You're also
towel.
a poker chip guy, aren't you?
Yeah, like poker chip, ball marker, whatever they have. Buying one of those. It's probably a handful of polos, couple hats. I mean, a T-shirt, maybe a hoodie, quarter zip or something. Like the number would get.
Yeah, I feel like 500 will come up real fucking quick.
Yep.
No, yeah,
Because
it
you're
would.
just gonna be like, oh, this is sick. This is sick. Like I would get 500 real quick.
My conservative self, I'll get one polo, one hat, a driver cover, and probably like a poker chip.
I'm going.
And that's probably $500 right there.
That is probably $500 right there. What's cool is you get to leave it there and they mail it home for you. So if you spend
Really?
a ton of money, it's not like you have to worry about carrying it back. The one thing that I hate, and people were badgering about this on Twitter, is people who load up and they resell.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
like it's so scummy. I like, well, one, I mean, this isn't my hot takes. I'm not going to get into it, but like reselling shit, like to me, it's like the holy land of golf. Like it's what every golfer dreams to play in. Every golfer dreams to play, and people just dream to get the chance to go there, and like scamming stuff off, or not even scamming, scalping stuff off to me just seems like sacrilege to golf.
Right.
But that's my boomer take.
I saw a Twitter clip of, and this is kind of to piggyback off that, which I think super cringe, is the adults that are standing waiting for like pros to get out of their hotel or to get off the bus. This is any sport, and they have like a card, and they're like, sign this card, and then they're just gonna turn around and resell it.
Oh,
I
like
saw
a
a clip.
sports card.
Yeah, exactly. I saw somebody do that with like a Bryson photo, and Bryson's like,
I saw
I
that
will
today.
sign this if you do not resell this. If I see this and you're reselling it, like I'm gonna have a problem with it because he wants to like hold his value of the signature. And people are like, well, Bryson's rude as fuck. I'm like, no, this is a 40-year-old man that's out there to get a signature, not because he's a kid and like looks up to Bryson. It's because he wants to turn around and resell it. So
Right.
and that piggies back off the reselling thing. It's like I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, that's like if I had a cool photo or a flag and players signed it, like that's getting framed and it's staying with me. Like
Yeah.
if it's something that someone signed or like if I got something signed, it's because I want it. Like yeah, if I drew a sports card that was signed, probably gonna sell it because I drew it. Has no sentimental value to me. But if I got something signed by the person, to me that has sentimental value. That's why it's like people like if you get a hat signed, I've seen a lot of people at golf events get a hat signed. I'm a hat freak and I love my hats, but it's like that'd be something I would be weird to display. I'd rather have something I could display, like a flag, than a hat. I don't know, but I'm on the same page as you, Chase. I think it's fucking weird, especially like 40, 50-year-old people who want to resell something. Like fuck off.
Yeah, I was totally on the side of Bryson because Bryson literally looked up at me. He's like, "Do not resell this," and he was like
Yeah.
super firm about it. And he's like, "Oh, you can personalize it." And Bryson's like,
You can
"Oh,
wipe it off.
really? You can just wipe
Yeah.
it off. I've seen that
Yeah.
before too." So he was just like,
Yeah.
he was pretty stern about it, and I actually respected the shit out of it because most guys will turn around and they're only there to get you to sign it so that they can turn around and make money on eBay off of it.
So I want to get into the heart and the history of the Masters for a little bit. What are your guys' 3 favorite holes at Augusta?
I can rattle them off real quick. 2 of them are par threes, 12 and 16 are top tier entertainment. And then I think it's 15 also the par 5. So I think those have had some memorable shots, moments. Either you know on 15 you hit it up like Hideki hits it into the water on 15. You have Phil from the trees back in the day. There's just a lot of memorable moments. So those are my 3 just
I
right
thought
off
Phil
the top
from
of
the
my head.
trees was 13. The
13. Sorry, I'm talking 13.
Okay. Yeah, I mean for me 12. Oh, go ahead, Jacob.
I was just say, just amen corner 11, 12, and 13 together. Just seeing it combined. I don't. That would probably be my favorite. I don't get super deep into the course and anything like that, so I would probably say those 3.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty on pace with Chase. I mean, 12, Baby Bell is a beautiful par 3. I think you've seen a lot of rise and collapse there. 16 is really cool. Between Tiger's chip, Davis loves chip, the aces coming from there, John Rahm holing from the skip off the water. A lot of cool things. But I think 15, the par 5, really offers risk versus reward for guys trying to make a push going into late Sunday, trying to make an eagle. I've seen shots land in the middle of the green and roll back into the water. A cool story. Back in the late 50s, early 60s, Ben Hogan made a comment that guys were using the right side of the green and like missing right to bail out. So the bunker that is now right side of the green on 15 was created and named Ben Hogan's bunker because he wanted to add some hazard for guys wanting to not bail out right of the green, kind of as a scapegoat going for the green in 2. And I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Go ahead.
I was looking it up earlier when I was talking about that clip with Smiley Kaufman. It was Ben Hogan who handed it over to Ben Crenshaw when they do the Masters Champions dinner. So yeah, Ben Hogan's kind of a staple there at the Masters. But
Yeah.
I think the front 9 is fun to watch still, but I think when you think of like memorable moments, it just boils down to that back 9 when things are getting tight and there's some clutch shots that have to be made.
hole 12 at Tour 18. Well, hole 12 at the Masters that's remade at Tour 18 was the one that I one hopped it, hit the pin.
Yeah.
Would have been a sick story to be able to tell. Made my birdie there.
I yanked it into the trees. I didn't shank it, but I fucking line
The par
drived
3?
it. Yeah. And the trees that were lining the back of that, so
Oh,
it
yeah.
was up at the top. So there was like obviously you have the front bunker and then the bunker in the back. I was off left in those trees. It was
Right.
bad. I got a 5.
I do remember that.
What are you guys talking when we played?
We're talking about our experience on
Amen
hole
corner.
12.
When I one hopped it and hit the pin and made my birdie.
Yeah.
At Tour 18.
Yeah. That par 3, it's fun to play. It's really cool with all the different pin locations it can have. I feel like it's hard regardless of where the pin is.
When we played, it was right over that center bunker, which I feel like is probably one of the easier pin locations.
Yeah, I think the tough one is front
to hold
right.
the green.
I think the toughest one is front right. No, playing that Amen corner I think is a ton of fun and really cool. Get to do that. I'm glad we got to go do that. So another thing, cool thing, back in 2012, the Masters PGA on PS3 had this built in where you had to go and part of your career is hit all the signature shots at Augusta, like Phil's shot, this would have been before Bubba shot, Tiger's chip, like a lot of the ones through the years. What are some Masters moments that stand out for you guys, good or bad, over the years?
Hideki's hit into the water is like one of the bad ones that I always think about going down the stretch with Tiger, because I think that was like the true turning point of Tiger winning that Masters was Hideki's collapse and hitting into the water. But yeah, Bubba's shot I think is the most memorable to me out of the craziest fucking shots to ever come out of the Masters. That shot is insane when you go back and look at it.
Because he hit driver off the deck out of that, right?
No, that was hook wedge.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different Bubba shot. I don't remember where it was, but he was like back in the pine straw. I don't think it was the Masters, but he hit a driver off the deck, big old like sling shot, and onto the fucking green. I don't think it was the Masters.
Phil's wood out of the trees on 13 was pretty crazy.
It's insane. Didn't Sergio hit a shot out of the trees at the Masters? Yeah, I always think of that.
Yeah, I think it was when he was younger is when he did that one.
Yeah, that one's crazy too because he climbs up in the fucking tree, hits it, hops down, and it was like a super clean shot. Obviously, it wasn't like something where he could stick it on the green, but he advanced the ball out of the damn tree up in it and was able to save par, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Being a Tiger fan, my favorite moment, and because I wasn't as big of a like golf watcher when I was in high school, but in 2019, just seeing like the patrons file in behind Tiger on hole 18 and seeing him like look over at Charlie, want to like be happy, but then he like and it was in the documentary where he's like, I wanted to like smile and celebrate, but then I was like, I still have to make a fucking putt. And
were
seeing
you
that,
like when people followed behind him after he won?
No, like as he was walking up the fairway, they all like kind of filed in behind him.
That was when he played Brooks at a PGA event. No one's allowed on the fairways at Augusta.
Are you
that
sure?
was the Tour Championship, I think.
Yeah, maybe it was FedEx.
When he won the Tour Championship, but he didn't win the overall, or it wasn't the Tour Championship, was it?
It was some big event, but like people aren't allowed to like circle 18 green. People aren't allowed on the fairways at Augusta. I'm like almost certain, but I think for Tiger, and they talked about it in a multitude of ads that I saw about him today, was Nike saying, they even brought the VP director of Nike on, that of all the hours they shot of advertisement with Tiger, the natural one that he created with the Nike logo in that moment did the most for them of all time working with Tiger. So I think that was cool. Like I said, the Phil and Bubba ones, gotta love the respect for my lefties. And then like the shitty one, I think it's Spieth. It was just really, really crap. Like, and that's Danny Willett's only ever tour win was Spieth falling apart. And it's not like Willett won that event. Spieth lost it. So
Yeah, it was the. I'm looking it up here. It was the 2018 Tour Championship when he won. He didn't. And this is them like filing in.
Okay.
That was his first win in 5 years. That was when he like finally broke his drought of winning. And then he won the Masters in 2019. But I know what you're talking about with the Masters though, where like he was scrambling in that final hole. He flared it out right on his approach, had to chip up onto the green and two putted for bogey. But I remember Charlie, his daughter, and then his mom all sitting off to the side of the green.
So another
Yeah.
another another one I really love was when Rory and Colin both hold from the bunker at the same time on 18. I thought that was a cool moment. And then another crazy stat is Ted Scott has won the Masters 4 times. He won it twice
Who
with
was his
Bubba.
other?
Bubba
Oh,
with
he was
14 and
Bubba.
12.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that dude's had a pretty good caddy career.
For sure. Louis Oosthuizen's double eagle
Albie.
is another. Yeah, his albatross is pretty sick too. When you think of crazy shots.
So to kind of nerd out of the Masters, Chase, when you finally get on and we play 2K, there is they
Slight little dig.
they try and do their best to ban it or get rid of it when they can, but I found the current active one that's an identical replica to Augusta, so we'll have to get on.
I saw it on Reddit. I took a screenshot of the course name so I could look it up and play it. Probably tomorrow night. I'm gonna play it.
If you can't find it, I'll send you the one that I played recently, and it's a ton of fun. Shit. I mean, I feel like I could talk about the Masters forever. Is there anything else you guys want to kind of finalize it out with?
I don't know. I'm just fucking ready to. I know you said we were talking about like putting up an extra monitor just dedicated for the Masters this week at our work desk. I'm just gonna have the trusty old iPad sitting there with the coverage on it, and have it probably. I'm gonna like power through like a shit ton of calls in the morning and just have it muted, and then watch coverage for the rest of the day on Thursday and Friday.
What's your ideal pairing for Sunday? Like the last pairing?
I know I've shared mine with you guys. I'm pretty sure.
Were you being serious? I thought you were just blowing smoke.
No, I think it'd be fucking awesome to have a shootout between the number 1 and number 2 player in the world. They're just way and far out ahead of everyone. Just a dead shootout going into Sunday. I think that's what would draw the biggest numbers. Next to if Tiger was in the hunt. I mean, fuck, even throw Phil in there. Phil versus Scotty, Phil versus Rory, Phil versus someone I think would draw numbers.
You got such a boner for Phil.
Dude, I've worked so much Callaway
He's lefty.
shit, and
He's
he's
the
a
lefty
lefty,
god.
and I had Callaway clubs forever because of Phil.
Get off his meat. Bryson's got it.
So, who's yours, Jacob? What's your 2?
I don't know. Maybe Bryson and Scotty.
Yeah, I have 2 answers because I like to cop out and not give just one. I think it would be a good story to have Liv against PGA top guys. So whether that's Bryson against Rory, Bryson against Scotty, that would be really cool to see. Just like a cool scene, I think, even though they're like best friends, and I think it would suck for them to be in a final pairing together, would be Spieth JT. Would be kind of fucking sick.
I was just thinking of like, I gotta think of a second answer. I'm like having 2 best buddies going against each other in the hunt. Look at Spieth looking for a return to glory after not winning in a while, and JT looking to add another major and hasn't won since his last major.
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be a sweet pairing.
I hope it's not like, I know Danny Willett kind of came from behind and he reaped the rewards of Spieth's collapse, but I hope it's not just like, I hope it's not Cantlay, even though I have him in as my pick. Like, I hope it's not Cantlay or Wyndham, just because I don't want to see them all day on coverage. But that's just
oh my gosh.
I know you hate that we hate them, but it's like Luca and Caleb Williams level.
Yeah.
Sure.
But shall we go into predictions from last week? Unless you guys have anything else to add to the Masters. I'm sad that I won't be able to get as much immediate coverage. I will be at a bachelor party this weekend.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to be... Saturday will be pretty tough to watch much golf for me, which sucks. But Friday I'll be watching it all day. Thursday I'll be watching it all day. Sunday I'm going to have to... I don't care if I have to pay for Wi-Fi on the flights. I will be watching Masters on Sunday. So
Yeah. Before we get into last week's predictions, the week before, since we recorded it a day early, we were missing most wins from Thursday to Tuesday and most home runs. Chase and I both got a point for both of those. It was 5 wins and also... No, it was 6 wins, but we both had 5. Corey had 4. And then it was also 6 home runs. And Aaron Judge hit those 6 home runs. So we both got a point for that. Both Chase and I had 5, and I think you had 3.
yeah, I had 3 and Aaron Judge, and he had 3 in one fucking game.
Yeah.
Well, so, the Rockies were less than 10 games into the season. About 10 games into the season, the Rockies are already 6 games back of first place in their division. So baseball's fucking back, baby.
That doesn't surprise me.
No.
Yeah.
But predictions from last week. The final score at the Women's Am at Augusta this weekend. It's actually, they only play the 1 round at Augusta. The other 2 are at, I don't fucking know what the name of the course is, but they don't play all 3 at Augusta. I think I was -8.
You and Chase were both -8.
You were -9.
I was -4. So you both got a point.
We both got a point there. The highest temperature in Stockholm, Sweden on Saturday.
Chase hit it on the fucking nose.
Fucking nailed it.
Fucking nuts. 39 degrees. Now this
I
next
don't
one,
know how I knew that, but
this next one we had a little bit of baseball debate from our baseball expert Jacob Teagarden to kind of let us know of were we including a delayed game or not, and the verdict was the game from from Sunday that got played on Saturday or Friday that got played.
Yeah, so the the Cardinals and Red Sox game had gotten delayed, so they played Sunday morning and Sunday evening. They're the Sunday night baseball game, and if we included the game that was supposed to be played on Saturday in the predictions, that would have been 134 hits.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. Then we don't have to. I thought it was supposed to be played on.
No, it's supposed to be played on Saturday, and it got moved to Sunday.
Oh, so you took the score from that Sunday game?
No. So I said, do you want to move that game that was supposed to be played on Saturday and not? So if we included that, it was 134 runs. And I said, well, Corey's in last place. We just won't include it because it wasn't played on Saturday.
I read it wrong then. We can...
No. It wasn't played on Saturday. It wasn't played on Saturday.
Okay.
125 runs were scored on Saturday. That's what the prediction says.
Okay.
And Corey guessed that on the head. And
I somehow hit that on the fucking button.
That's way more insane than my 39 on Stockholm, Sweden, I'll be honest.
Right. And then combined scores for all ones. So the way we read it last week was different than what we calculated. Because it says combined scored for all 1 seeds in Final Four of college basketball. But you read it to us that it was combined score of the winners of the Final Four games.
Yeah, that's
right.
What I'm pretty sure I guessed.
Yeah, that's what we all guessed. And it was 149. Chase had 159. He was the closest. You and I were closer to 200. So Chase got another point there. So now Chase is in the lead with 14 points. I got 12, and Corey's got 9.
Fuck.
So we got a closer race, but we're getting there.
We're in the first major of the golf season. NHL playoffs are coming up. We got a lot of time left. I'm not coming in fucking last this year. Got to make a punishment or something if I come in last.
We could do a fucking because the NHL bracket's a little bit. Obviously, there's not fucking 64 teams in the NHL bracket. We could do a NHL bracket and do points per, playoff matchup. That might be a cool.
We can toss a link out there to our fans if they want to join in on us.
Oh yeah, that sounds fun.
The top, yeah.
The I'm gonna name it Jacob Sucks and
Stanley Cup champions coming out of the West. Just bet your money on that. But okay.
Seattle Kraken.
They're not making the playoffs.
Or do they suck?
They're not making the playoffs.
Okay.
So I hope everyone's okay. I jumped in for predictions yet again this week because I wanted to keep it Masters theme.
Because he's the producer, editor, master of all gods.
I'm making the commish veto. You guys could have vetoed me off, but no one said anything, so I just rolled with it. Predictions
I
this
said
week.
sounds good.
Total Eagles made it the Masters Thursday through Sunday. The best finishing live golfer, we touched on it earlier. Let's put our money where our mouth is and pick final bets on them. The most putts made by a player in a single round will likely come from Thursday or Friday. And the total double bogeys or worse through the entire weekend at the Masters. So I think the biggest score, I saw a stat of if you took the best score from each hole, what they would have shot at the Masters, and if you took the worst score ever made at each hole at the Masters, I think what they would have shot if they took the best score, I think was 38. 30, it was in the 30s or like 40 because of all the aces, the albatross, the eagles, the hole outs. It was like it's like what you see from a charity scramble.
That's lower than that.
Yeah. Total eagles.
So the total double bogeys, that's for all
The
four
whole
rounds,
tournament.
too.
The whole tournament.
Yeah.
See, this is another one of those things. Last year, I kept getting pinched by you guys.
Right between us.
Right between you guys on some of these numbers. So
The numbers might not make sense for me on the total eagles and the double bogeys. I'm just throwing
all
out
right,
a number.
I think I got mine.
I'm sending mine.
So if it's below an eagle, so if someone gets like an albatross, does that count as an
That
eagle, or
counts
does
as
it
an
have
eagle.
to be?
That counts as an eagle.
So it's eagle or better.
Eagle or
So a hole in one would be.
Yeah.
that's an eagle. That's -2. Oh, I might be
8.
I'm an idiot. I think 45.
Read-
45 what?
45 eagles
Oh.
or better.
Don't they make a ton of fucking eagles on 13 and 15 and 2? Like
Last
if
year
you
there's only 29 all tournament.
okay.
Well, I'm
So
not
you're
winning
doing
that.
some pre-round investigation.
I'm not fucking doing that. I'm an idiot.
What are you
What was
not
the-
doing?
What
I
was
put
the
8.
what
I
was
meant
the
to put
total
18
amount of
I
double
meant to put
bogeys?
18 and I put
Jacob?
8.
What?
What was the total amount of double bogeys?
I didn't look up.
You didn't look up?
No,
I
I
meant
Well,
to
I'm
put
fucking way
18,
off. I
not
told you I was
8.
going to be way off.
53.
People fucking blow up on these holes.
Okay. Chase, you want to read through yours first?
No, I'm not.
You
fucking
said-
reading through.
You went from 8 to 9.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I meant to put 18 eagles and it said 8.
All right.
Eagles.
So I'm expecting mass chaos on both sides of good and bad scores, apparently. So total Eagles made it Masters. I have 45. I was just going off I literally watched Phil Eagle the 13th like 3 times in 2010. So I was going off that. If he has 3 Eagles on 13, that means everybody else has 1 or 2. That I was just
I mean, honestly,
Whatever.
you might be closer. I'm at the bottom, so I might be fucked.
well, Jacob
And
said
the
there
course
was only
is-
29. So
The course is really wet right now.
No, it's
So
been
it's scoreable.
firming. They've been firming it up already today.
It rained all day yesterday.
That
have
grounds
the
creeping
magic
crew is
dome.
magic.
they have the magic out there, I'm telling you. So I had 45 Eagles, even though I've been talking about Bryson this whole podcast. I wanted to switch it up because I didn't want the same answer as everybody else. So I picked Brooks. Most putts in one round, 39. I think that's probably pretty high too. And then total double bogeys, 53.
Hey, if there's 39 putts out there, there's probably quite a few double bogeys.
Yeah, no shit.
So
I
those
saw
will
the
go hand in
average.
hand.
I think the average putts per round is 29 and 28, 29, and those fucking greens are glass.
I know.
People are gonna have a ton of 3 putts. So
Well, that's what it was cool. The tiebreaker. I'm curious what math you guys did for the tiebreaker for the fantasy. For the last thing was how many total putts at Augusta.
I put in a random ass number because I had no idea how to calculate that either.
I did because there's 90 some players in the field.
6.
96.
Well, there was 96, 95 now that VJ backed out.
See, I did 27 times 96 times 2 for the first 2 rounds. Then I did last year there was 58 players who made the cut, which is the most in history. So I just did 52 times 27 times 2, and I think it was 7,600 putts.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I put 5,000 flat just to put a number in.
I don't remember what I put. Anyways.
Do you want to go ahead, Jacob? Because I think yours are probably you're gonna soar ahead in the leaderboard here because your numbers make the most sense. I'm below everything.
Yeah, so 21 Eagles at the Masters. Bryson DeChambeau. That TikTok you sent today, Chase, I still love it. Of Bryson.
It's pure. It's a magical edit.
It is.
Have you guys seen the pictures he's posting on Twitter? He's posting like he's a kid at their first day of school. When he got there, he's standing with his arms crossed in front of at Magnolia Lane. He goes excited to be here. Then he's catching the morning sun at Augusta, sitting in a rocking chair. He's like a kid in middle school posting for their first day picture for their mom.
Did you see his April Fool's joke?
No.
Bryson DeChambeau withdraws from the Masters because of a bruised pec or something like that from Matthew Stafford throwing the football at him.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Anyways, most putts in one round, I got 32. I figured, these guys, yeah, sure, the greens are glass. 36 would be a 2-putt on every hole. Surely they're either putting something close or maybe a 3-putt in there or holing out from a green or, and if they're putting from the fringe, it doesn't count as a putt-putt. So, 32 and total double bogeys or worse at the Masters is 18. I have no idea.
Yeah, I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about either.
I just think the double bogeys have to be higher than that because you've got the low AMs that are shooting 15 over.
But a double, you think a double bogey? I could see him shooting.
Ernie 16 putted from 7 feet on hole 2 one year.
Ernie?
Yeah, so that's a 39 putt. That's a 39 there on the scorecard.
Sure, for putts, but that still only counts as one double bogey.
I know. I'm just fucking around.
I know, but you guys are gonna be closer on that. I'm an idiot. So I have 18 Eagles or better at the Masters. I wanted to change it up a little bit. I went with Rahm. I think you could do something. I have 31 putts, so I'm at the low end. So hopefully everyone putts well. And then 9 doubles or worse. I'm nowhere near the ballpark of anyone. So I'm seeing foresight of me falling way behind everyone again in the leaderboard of points. So will Corey ever come out of third place in the points ever? Probably fucking not. This is becoming a problem. I need to pull my head out of my ass. Fuck.
I about died when I saw the 8 and the 9, the 8 and the 9 the first time.
Well, I meant to put 18. I looked at it. I go, that's not 8 Eagles. I'm like, no, there's gonna be more than that on
that's
one
day
day.
one.
Now I've been waiting to bring this up, partially because of what Chase is wearing. For my hot take, is it taboo to wear Masters gear if you've never been to the Masters?
Corey, do you not remember anything we talk about?
Do you listen to the podcast after we record it?
Yes, I do all the editing. Of course, I fucking listen to it.
We talked about it last week.
We talked about this last week.
Guys, my memory is so fucked. I don't know if it's from the 16 concussions I've had, or I'm just a moron, or all the other shit I got going on. But I guess clearly our producer's a fucking moron. So, all right, then fucking scratch that.
But yes, I do think it's taboo, and I'll tell the story I told last week about Katie and I being
at last week. Motherfucker.
It was Katie and I being at a Cubs game, and the dude 3 rows behind us. I was a few beers deep, and I yelled at her, "If this fucker's wearing a Masters hat and hasn't been there, I'm gonna be pissed." And he's like, "I've been to the Masters. I went this year." Okay.
Then
I'd say picks or it didn't happen.
We'll huck a 180 here. We'll huck a 180 here and kind of go into the conversation that me, Schmitty, and Mark had over text today talking about the Masters. Other than a special occasion, i.e. bachelor party, like something else. Is it acceptable for people to get overly drunk on golf courses? We were kind of talking that we need to like shrink the game. We're not a big fan of like the bar stoolification and the gaudiness of some apparel. Very boomer-esque talk for a bunch of 26, 27-year-olds. But, I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, I know some people who they go and play golf on a Saturday and they have to get a ride home.
Right.
I mean, I know, like, Jacob, you and I, like, we're competitive golfers and we still want to go and play well. I mean, what are your thoughts of seeing people who go out there to get trashed? Like, I'm perfectly okay with cracking a few beers, getting a nice little buzz, but you want to drive home. You still want to play decent golf. I mean, what's your thought on the whole shrink the game type thing?
No, I like that. I mean, I don't like you said, we enjoy a few beers, but I'm not out there to get fucking hammered. The only way I get hammered on the course is if I have,
Birdie
I don't know,
juice.
handful. Correct. If I have a handful of birdies that I hit the bottle and those add up. But thankfully, I'm not that kind of golfer. I'm slow and steady and hit the fairway, hit the green, and two putt. So I don't rack up the birdies. But no, I agree. I don't want to see these guys hammered because going back to podcast before, I fucking hate slow golf, and those dudes that are out there hammered are playing slow golf. They're more worried about changing their music and shotgun another beer rather than playing golf. So I'm on the same page as you.
Yeah. I'm definitely, I've always been kind of a traditional golfer in the sense that I think that a lot of that shit's kind of annoying, and I've always been, since COVID, I've been on like the shrink the game bandwagon because I think the game has unfortunately gotten to a point where there's people out there that are just not meant to be out on the golf course. But the great thing I think about golf is that there are like occasions and outings kind of geared towards that. So like some of like the fireman's outing, a lot of the guys out there are drinking and having a good time, and like the social setting is that it's not meant to go out there and shoot, super low numbers and whatever. So I think that's the great thing of golf is like you can kind of have those dedicated rounds of golf that are more geared towards the drinking side of things. But the thing that pisses me off the most are the guys out there that are drinking and then like damaging the shit out of the golf course because they think it's funny. That shit is stupid. Like there's people that think it's funny when they're like taking a big hack out of the green after they miss a putt. And there's like that famous TikTok video, this guy just fucking taking a huge chunk out of the green. That shit's terrible. So
Yeah, I mean, the last round I played, there was guys in front of us who were playing the one back from the tips. These three dudes had been late 30s, early 40s, playing one back from the tips. It wasn't a long course, and they were missing the golf ball off the tee. And I just like put the fucking ego aside and move up tees. I mean, as like regardless of skill level, if I'm playing with friends or whoever, like I don't force people to come back tees or whatever. I go play wherever. Still gotta put the fucking ball in the hole, and we're there. It's a social outing. You're meant to have fun, play music, talk with your friends and whatnot. But like if I can hear your music 3 holes away and you have a frat basement-esque speaker in the back of your golf cart, yeah, I might want to fucking put a 6-iron through your head. But I don't remember the last time, like if I get paired with random people, how often I see people repair divots and shit like that. And like even like people, it's not to nitpick, but like carrying a ball marker where it's like they use a tee or the golf ball's there, and it's just like use a poker chip, use something you find on the ground, use a change like a quarter, like something. You need a ball marker, and it's I don't know.
Right.
I feel like I nitpick too much and want everyone to still have fun and enjoy golf, but at times I feel like like when I played with friends, like with Schmitty when he got into golf, it's understanding like respect around the green. Don't be a dickhead when someone else is swinging. It's like I don't care if someone is consistently talking while I'm hitting. It's more so if someone like starts talking while I'm swinging, I feel like is the difference, because then it kind of throws off while you're moving such a quick movement. But
Right.
I don't know. I'm the shrink the game shit. Like,
And you and I are part of the routine. Going back to your, ball marker and stuff. You and I are routine guys. Before every round, I put my divot fixture that opens up, has a ball marker on it. I put 3 tees in my right pocket, my ball marker, and then I put my ball and an extra ball in my pocket before every round. 3 tees, divot fixture, extra ball, and the ball I'm playing with. Doesn't matter. That's what I always do. And, you should always have, I agree with you, a ball marker. If I ask you to mark your ball and you put a fucking T in the ground, I'm going to be like, seriously? Like,
Yeah.
I'm still going to hit something, whether it be your ball or a tee. If it's in my line, I'm going to hit it. Yeah.
That's right. I hope one day I can afford to be, not to be a country club snob, but even if it's a semi-private course where there's people out there who at least know golf and it's not a public course and it's...
Well, and it's funny because, like, even the guys that know golf and play golf around here still don't do it. And then my biggest gripe is fixing your damn ball markers or ball marks. Like, it's not that hard. You takes 3 seconds, find your divot, fix it up real quick, because greens are already looking rough just because people aren't fixing them. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in, if I'm not putting, I'm over there fixing as many as I can, because I play that course all the time. I want it to be as nice as possible.
And I think it's people don't know how to properly fix divots, because I see people all the time push down and lift, and you're just ripping up the grass. It's like I learned that when the club pro at the course I played all the time when I was young. He saw me doing that. He goes, no, you push it in, because when you push and go up, you're pulling out the roots and you're killing the grass anyways. Doesn't matter if you're lifting it up and it's flat, that spot's going to be dead.
Right.
So, but I think that's all I have, fellas. I'm really excited for the weekend.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Chase, you got any bitches about people being assholes on the golf course? No.
Nothing. I don't like being hit into, but that's about it.
I don't like because usually it's a slow day.
Right. Like if I'm getting hit into, it's not me. I guarantee you that it's the person in front of me. So like I can't do anything about it. So
right.
We were doing a fun outing with guys when we were at school, like a scramble thing, and it was like the 5th or 6th hole. It wasn't a long course because there wasn't a lot of great golfers. It was pretty beat up track, and by like the 5th hole, it was like the 3rd time they hit into us. And it's like we were out there was like 40 of us out there. We had a bunch of tee times reserved, and they hit into us, and I fucking hit the golf ball into the woods, and they come driving off. I go, where'd you hit my golf ball? I go, into the fucking woods. Like we're all out here. There's 45 of us out here. We're waiting for the green to fucking clear, and you hit into us again. This is the 4th fucking time. I'm like, I'm sending your golf ball to the moon. I'm like, fucking knock it off. So
you're gonna be one of those guys out there. I just saw a fucking brawl take place on the golf course on like Reddit or something. There's these guys in like Chicago fucking headlocked in the middle of the green, just like fucking going at it.
Oh, I don't know if I'd do that with. I just did that because I knew the guys on the course at school. Gotcha. It wasn't random people, but it was. I don't know if I would. If it happened a few times in a row, I'd just kind of look back and be like, what the fuck?
Do you remember at 218?
Pump it into the ground.
When Corey fucking sailed over our heads? That wasn't our fault. That was the group in front of us.
I didn't hit the golf ball. I hit that thing a fucking nuclear mile. That went so far.
You did hit it well.
I was hitting my driver like a freakazoid that day.
And I hit it, that same hole, I hit it into the group ahead of us, and they fucking took my ball. Remember that?
That's the thing that pisses me off is especially when I'm spraying it all over the place and it goes to a different hole and I see a group pick up my golf ball. I'm like, yo, did you see a golf ball there? And they're like, yeah. Because I always put initials on my mark and I see it in their cart. I go, my fucking initials are on the golf ball. I'm like, give me my fucking golf ball back.
And the bad thing is I didn't hit into them on purpose. They had drove up and then they drove back looking for the ball still. So I thought they were gone and then took my ball instead of theirs.
Yeah, kind of a funny story when I was a kid. On hole 6 at Country Hills over the water, the little par 3, I was playing with my dad, and there was a group had just cleared 6. They were on the 7 tee box off to the left, and I was a little kid, and I was back at the white tees, and I hit it into them, and they looked back, and they were all pissed off. They were like, "What the fuck?" Looking at my dad. And my dad was like, it was this, like, it was me pointing at me. And the guys were like, oh, all right, no big deal. Cause it was just me as a kid, but they were all pissed off. Like, what the fuck? Cause we yelled for and everything, but they were pissed that cause I hit the top of their cart with my ball and they were fucking livid. And then they realized it was just like this little kid that actually hit, like, for me at that age, a pretty decent shot over the water. And so they were cool with it after they found out it was me, but.
That's funny. I'm excited to go out and play that course. See if it's any better.
Me too. I was going to go out to the range, but everything's underwater. Both Swan Lake.
No, I'm talking
And-
about Country Hills.
Oh, Country Hills. Sorry, I thought you were talking about next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to play Country Hills in August, but hopefully it's better by then. It seems like they're doing the right things.
Yeah.
Yeah, all my golf courses in Clarksville are underwater, so I don't have anywhere to go to the range right now. But
Even the one we're going to? Which I know is not
I don't
in
know about
Clarksville.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other ones are like 10-minute drives, so.
Yeah.
But all right, fellas. I think that's all
Wraps
I got.
it up, I think.
Don't fall in the water this weekend, Corey.
Yeah, no, got it. Happy Masters Week, boys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.